Good morning, happy Wednesday. It's May 19th. We're continuing on with our challenges. May is Mental Health Month and we have our walk coming up. But let's start off with our daily pledge. Today is a new day. I am ready to be the best me I can be. I will listen so I can learn. I will try hard so my brain can grow. I will not give up. I can learn anything I put my mind to. It's a new day. It's a new opportunity to keep working on yourselves, working on these challenges, making a calendar of things, or writing out your day as far as putting on making an hour by hour sort of layout of what your day is going to look like to get organized, putting in meditation and walking and healthy eating and all of the things that we've been talking about. How are you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10? Where are you at? If you woke up feeling great, that's awesome. Use that energy to go for a walk today. Spend some time with a friend. Go get a cup of coffee, organize laundry, dishes, all those same things that are easier to do when we're feeling better and we're feeling motivated. But if you didn't wake up feeling so great today, make sure that you get out your coping skills toolbox or your tool bag and start working on ways that you can help yourself. It's so important to get out your tools. Don't forget about them on days that you feel bad. Those are the times we need them the most. And that's why we put together this toolbox so that on those days that you don't feel good, you can just pull it out. Hopefully it'll jog your memory and kind of inspire you or motivate you to do something to help yourself. So again, keep working on that toolbox. It's so important. Well, anyways, before our challenge, now if you have a piece of paper, a tie-dye class today, awesome, 2:00. If you have a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil, get that out because we are going to write some things down. Now, I couldn't find index cards, but these are like a white piece of paper, little cards that you could stick in your toolbox or put in your tool bag, whatever you prefer, but this is a Geodon notepad. But if you have something you can write on that's small to put in your stuff as little reminders, our challenge for today is learn one new coping skill to help you manage social anxiety. Now, anxiety is anxiety, right? But there are some differences for folks, some significant differences between, just kind of your generalized anxiety versus social anxiety. And so we want to talk a little bit about what that looks like and what we're going to do to make that situation better. So I want you to be able to write things down so you can put it in your toolbox and keep it and start working on things. Now, here's a little worksheet that I found. It says, what people think social anxiety is. People think that social anxiety is being shy and having a fear of public speaking. That is not true. I mean, some of that is true, but social anxiety is more than that. So what social anxiety actually is the fear of being judged by others in social situations. It's going to Walmart and assuming that everybody's staring at you and judging you and making fun of you. Social anxiety is the fear of accidentally offending somebody. If you're afraid to talk because you don't know what's going to happen and bad things you're just afraid that you're going to fumble and stumble over your words and you're going to say the wrong thing. And so you just don't talk at all. You shut down. People will close up. They will shut down. They won't speak because they're going to be so afraid that something bad's going to come out of their mouth. They don't want to offend anybody or hurt somebody's feelings. Social anxiety is the fear of being the center of attention. People with social anxiety want to be shoved so far in the back of the room that nobody even knows they're there. They'd rather wear like a bag over their head so that nobody can bring attention to them, okay? And lastly, it's the fear of being embarrassed or humiliated and showing it by blushing or sweating or shaking. They are afraid. People that suffer from social anxiety are afraid that you can physically see that they're freaking out, whether it's sweating or shaking, trembling, whatever it may be. That's social anxiety, all right? Here's another example. It says, what else social anxiety can look like? It can be, it's a feeling extreme stress and fear in social situations. People go into panic. People have had panic attacks just being in social situations. It's reading too much into nonverbal cues. Okay, if somebody looks at you and you may think that they looked bad at you and now they hate you, it's looking at somebody's eyes and how what they're kind of where they're headed, and assuming something bad out of that. Or if somebody's standing like this, okay, does that mean that they don't like you, or they're annoyed that you're by them? That might not mean anything. Maybe they just need some place to put their arms. And so again, it's reading too much into nonverbal cues, their tone of voice, how they're standing, if they're slouched, if they got their back turned you. We can assume many different things out of that. Our mind is going to take it and run with it. So when you struggle with social anxiety, you're always basically kind of assuming the worst. And so we need to practice that. It can also look like avoiding asking people for help. We don't want to ask for help because we're afraid. We don't want too many people in that group. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. We don't want to upset anybody. It just puts us in a bad spot. People with social anxiety assume people are thinking bad about you. If somebody looked at you in Walmart that you don't even know, people with social anxiety will assume that they're thinking bad things about them. I must not be dressed right. Did I do something wrong? Should I have moved out of the way? So we assume that people are thinking bad about us. People with social anxiety are reliving social experiences and they feel shame about it. If something happened to you at Walmart, you almost ran into somebody with a cart, all right? People with social anxiety will go home and they will process that. They will whittle it down into making it into something that was so awful and nasty, and they feel so guilty and shameful that they accidentally ran into somebody with their shopping cart. That's just a little example. Or maybe you were at a social gathering and you're like, oh, I forgot to say hi to Johnny. Whoever it is, people will take that and they will process that really hard in their brain, and they will feel so shameful and guilty about that they just shut down, and they won't go to any more social settings because they're afraid of how that made that other person feel, and they feel very upset about that. People with social anxiety will avoid spaces where they can't easily hide. They, again, don't want to be the center of attention. They're not coming to a small gathering because they want to be able to blend in. They will make excuses to skip meetings if it's too small of a setting, or they just feel too intense, or they're afraid they're going to say the wrong thing that is shut down. They will avoid them. They won't show you their true self. A lot of people with social anxiety will do whatever they can to cover up the fact that they feel that way and try to be the complete opposite of who they actually are in an attempt to try and make themselves feel better. They will be extremely aware of how they behave. They're going to be so anxious because they're going to be thinking so hard about how they are, walking and talking and moving because they're so self-conscious about what other people are thinking. Rehearsing what you will say in your head. Again, it'll just be that constant over and over and over and over and over. So it says social anxiety will make you do weird things, such as holding on to an apple core for 45 minutes during a meeting because you're too anxious to go to the trash that's 10 feet away. It will make you wait for someone else to throw out their apple core so you know it's okay. How many of you have been to a meeting and maybe you had to go to use the ladies' room or the men's room? However, you didn't because you were so anxious and nervous to get up in front of people, so you waited till somebody else went to know it was okay. Let's see here. That you're afraid that you will stumble in front of people and people will be watching you. So social anxiety. Here's a little roadmap of kind of what that looks like. They say start up at the top, okay? It says before the social situation. Now, before you go grocery shopping, before you go anywhere where you might have to actually socialize with people, it says you have long-held beliefs about being no good in social situations. I'm a poor mixer. I'm boring. I can't do this. This always fails. So before the social situation, we start at the top of the cycle. What happens to your brain? You start telling yourself, I can't do this. It never goes well. I'm going to fail. People always look at me poor. I always say something stupid. I'm boring. I can't do this. I can't. There's that dreaded word. I can't. I do not like that word. We know that. So that's before anything even happened, okay? What else happens? You start to avoid situations. You say, I can't make it. Those automatic negative thoughts kick in. Remember, ants, automatic negative thoughts. Remember that. We've talked about it. I'm not going to be able to cope. And then your physical symptoms you start to shake or sweat, feel sick to your stomach. You start to get a headache. You start to feel lightheaded. So before the social situation, look at what happened. Your thoughts start to go. Remember, ants, automatic negative thoughts. You start to feel like you just can't. You start to shut down. Your physical symptoms start to kick in. This is all before you even stepped out the door. During the situation, we start to focus on ourselves like, oh my God, I'm sweating. Can anybody see that? I look so stupid. I can't do this anymore. You lose focus and you're afraid you're going to run into somebody or you won't be able to say the right thing. You have increased physical symptoms. Now you feel so tense, you're trembling. You can't even remember how to get through certain things because ultimately you've shut down. And then you start to have safety concerns, things like that. After the social event, you then beat yourself up even more because now you say how stupid I was that I didn't cope through that. I can't do any of this stuff. I'm not good for nothing. You beat yourself up and you whittle yourself down to even more problems, which creates more. It's kind of like putting it up here on a shelf. Now, that was another bad experience. Now your brain goes there right away before you go anywhere. See that awful vicious cycle? Do you see how you started out talking horrible? Your physical health went poor. You judged yourself the whole time you were out in the community. And then when you got home, you beat yourself down into nothing even more, which ultimately is engraving more things into your brain. So the next time you have to go somewhere, those ants come back and it just gets your brain going over and over and over and over. Do you see the cycle? It just keeps going. And so we need to break that cycle. And this is how we're going to do it. All right, hold on. Whew. So it says how to, here are 5 tips to dealing with your anxiety. Okay, approach your anxiety like a scientist. I kind of like that. Research it, dig into it. Where is this coming from? It's kind of like check the facts. Be a scientist. Do your pros and cons list. Check the facts. Where's the evidence that supports how you're feeling, how you're thinking? Do you think that people out in the community are really looking at you and judging you the entire time? And if they are, and you have no idea who they are, do they matter? So we got to do some digging. We need to be a scientist. We need to check the facts. We need to really give ourselves something to think about in the meantime, okay? Number 2, learn to redirect your attention. If you notice yourself wandering and you're watching other people and you're starting to shut down and you're anxious and you're just feeling sick to your stomach, redirect your attention. That's why it's so important to bring a shopping list. Focus on your shopping list. Get a pen. Physically check off everything on your shopping list. That's a way to redirect your attention. Maybe you get out your phone. I don't know. A lot of people will wear like the earbuds and they'll listen to music while they're out in the community. That helps them stay focused, brings their attention in. They're not worried about everybody else, and it gets them through that time. Number 3, don't forget to breathe. Breathe mindfully. That's another way to focus your attention on something else. Make sure that when you're working on your deep breathing, you're filling up your tummy and then blowing out those thoughts. Remember the ants. Fill up your tummy and then blow them out. Automatic negative thoughts. We need to get rid of those. Watch out for those should statements. I should have done that. I should have did this. I shouldn't have done that. Don't do that. Again, that makes everything start kind of crumbling around you, and then the negativity creeps in. So if you find yourself not saying anything good to yourself, you just know at that point in time you need to bring it in. You need to redirect yourself or check the facts. A lot of things can happen in a short amount of time when you're out and about in the community, but make sure you're doing something that's going to redirect you. Some people will use a rubber band. They'll snap themselves like they're snapping back out of it. Again, the music, making your list and checking things off, that helps redirect your attention. And remember, your thoughts are not always accurate. Okay, don't believe everything that happens in your head. How to manage your anxiety routine. Create a routine. Anxiety thrives on chaos and uncertainty. So sometimes what people do is they'll make their list according to how they're going to do things. For instance, if you're going to Walmart, I use this as an example because it's a big place. I will have consumers map out how we're going to get to where we're going. Okay, so that's kind of like preventing the chaos. We have a direction, we've organized, and we've managed that. We need to have a good routine. Maybe you shop every Tuesday at noon. That's sticking to a routine. You know what the expectation is. Your brain can process all of that. If you just throw a wrench in the plan and you show up at Thursday at 3, that might send your brain into a panic because it's off. It's not the same routine. And I don't want us to become super rigid. However, a little bit of a routine prevents that chaos, settles things down. Rationalize. Anxiety likes to pull out the worst case scenario. We know that. It just takes us to a bad place right off the bat. That's not even true. Reassure yourself as many times as you can that you're okay. Remember yesterday we talked about meditation. Now it's not really the same concept. However, while you're out in the community, you can still coach yourself through things. You can still use a little meditation. Remember it said pick something to say over and over in your head. And I encourage you to say, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. If all you have to do is coach yourself through that, keep telling yourself, I'm okay, I'm okay. And eventually it'll just become part of what you do. So we took those ants and we replaced it with a positive affirmation. Just keep saying it the whole time you're walking through the store. I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. It'll become a part of you. Don't be afraid to talk about your anxiety. You should always share that with people. And schedule something into your week so that you always know that you're getting out. I think it's important. Don't just sit around in your apartment. That means you have a little box. And if we don't ever step outside that box, our social anxiety is going to get so much worse. I know it can be hard to combat. It can be very scary. It's a hard work to process all of those thoughts and to work on them, but you have to schedule times to get out of the house every single day. We have to practice our tools. All right. Even if you bring an index card with you, hold it over your phone, tape it to the back of your phone. Nobody knows you have to have it with you. Write down some things that you're going to challenge yourself to do during that time and bring it with you and practice them. Practice makes perfect. If we practice for sports and we practice for other areas of things in our life, why shouldn't we be practicing on our anxiety and communication and ways to help ourselves feel better? It's the same concept. It's like every single day is a sports event, right? They say most importantly with social anxiety, challenge yourself. Get out with friends. Make sure that you wear something you wouldn't normally wear. Just stepping outside of the box, asking open-ended questions, making eye contact more and more during conversations. Maybe you practice in front of a mirror first. Practice these things. Practice having conversations. Go somewhere you wouldn't normally go. Order something from a cafe. Sit somewhere different in a restaurant, or go sit in one in general. Eat in instead of taking out. Speak to a stranger. Say hi when you're walking down the street. I think that's important to do. Call somebody on the phone. But most importantly, just keep challenging yourself every day. And if you need to reach out to a friend or an arms worker or a family member to do these things with you, do that. If somebody loves you and supports you and cares about you and wants to help you, they will not make fun of you. They won't judge you. They will support you and they will help you work through that. And so we need to challenge ourselves. We need to make sure that we are getting rid of those thoughts and we're replacing them with something positive. Say it over and over and over in your head, and eventually, like I said, it will become easier. But social anxiety is a very real thing. And let's be honest, I think social anxiety has gotten a lot worse ever since we have been quarantined and people have stayed at home to stay safe and to stay healthy. And now people are coming out into the community, and it's been a year, and they're experiencing a lot more anxiety or stress than they normally have, and they don't know why. So if you know somebody in your life who's getting real anxious and stressed out about going in the community and they don't know why, educate them. That's part of our responsibility in return, is we learn something and we're going to share it with others too, all right? So your challenge today is practice one new skill for your social anxiety, whether it's saying a positive affirmation over and over and over, writing down your tools on an index card and taking it with you, finding ways to distract yourself, cutting down on your negative thoughts, challenging yourself, whatever it may be. We're going to learn one new tool, one new skill for your social anxiety so we can continue to feel more and more comfortable leaving our home, because the world is a big place and there's so much to offer and so much to enjoy. And I want everybody to be a part of that and to be able to take that all in. So have an amazing day. Now, remember, our mental health walk is on Friday, all right? And we have a lot of stuff going on. And I will try to remember to post things on Facebook for your challenges. But don't forget, one new coping skill to combat your social anxiety. Awesome. Have an amazing Wednesday. Thanks for joining me again this week. And I will try to post some things. I hope to see you on Friday. And I will see you Monday morning. Have a great rest of your week, guys. Get outside and enjoy the weather.